right, we are going live. Give us one moment. We will be up and running in about 30 seconds. Welcome. We really appreciate you all joining us for this live episode. We have some special guests with us on today. So honored to have Miss Ilana with us today. So honored to have Miss Candace with us today. Thank you for joining. This is a very special episode of BGSO live from Florida, right? So we have to build in some self-care, but even while we are on vacation, we wanted to make sure that we remain true to who we are, and that is showing up for you all the first through fourth Thursdays of the month. And so we're going to get right into tonight's episode. Thank you so much again for joining. If you are watching us on the live, please type in the chat. Please let us know in the comments and type hashtag live if you are joining us. If you are watching on the replay, let us know that, and let us know where you're tuning in from. So by the way, I want to type in hashtag Florida.
Yes.
Oh, okay. By way of Baltimore, Maryland, we're in the house. But anyway, we're going to get into it. This month, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, where we are tuning into our mental health. But we've been talking about a lot of things this month. We started out the month really focusing on, as Black and Brown women, how our identities in a really holistic way impact our mental health, right? And so thinking about gender-based experiences and race-based experiences and the intersection of race and gender. So how is it that being Black and being woman, or being Asian and being woman, or being Filipino being woman, whatever, however it is that you identify, right? Being Latino and being woman, how is it that those experiences are shaped by our identities? But you know what really popped off? I believe when we talked about relationships and work. So what we found, ladies, is that a lot of times when we post in the BGSO group, and so for those of you who will be watching us on YouTube, so the name of the podcast is Brown Girl Sound Up, but we also facilitate a group space as well on Facebook. And so every time that we post on the group, something around, microaggressions and something around the workplace and relationships, we recognize that a lot of ladies identify with those experiences. And so that one, and even when Carrie came on, I believe that one was where like folks were like, yes, we need to have this conversation. So I just wanted to recap so that you know where this journey has gone for the month of May. But today, to kick off today's episode, I wanted to talk to you all about something I saw recently. I'm actually going to pull it up because I was telling Edwina on the plane actually about this post, because when we have our live episodes, we're kind of recapping and we are interacting with you all. So it's very organic. And this post was very timely. So Ilana, Candace, Nafisa, Edwina, hear me out. So here was a post. It said, your feelings are always valid, but they aren't always facts. Just because something made you feel a certain way doesn't mean that's how things really are. So I read that. Okay. Everything is a yes and for me, right? And there are lots of layers to these things. So on one hand, I'm like, absolutely. Like, come on, I agree with that. But on the other hand, I must admit, so that post was actually posted by a Black woman therapist. It was reposted the way that I saw it. It was reposted by a Black male therapist. And as a Black woman, I internalized that in a very problematic way. So, ladies, I'm about to get to you all. I want to just kind of rephrase that. So essentially what the post is saying is that your feelings are just that, but they're not really facts. And so let me just explain to you, just from my perspective, how I feel about that and why I find it a little problematic, but I want to hear all perspectives. I think about what we've been talking about. So the things that show up in relationships for us, the things that show up in workplaces for us, and many times we've shared that when we bring concerns to, to folks, whether it's our supervisors, when we are talking to our partners in our relationships, a lot of times we feel like gaslighted. And so I was a bit, shocked when I saw that post posted, especially right now in these times in this climate, by Black therapists, because I thought about how many of us just want to feel heard and validated and affirmed in our experiences. And so I want to know what you all think. Again, I do see the other side of that, but for me, perception is reality. So I'm just always thinking about, well, how can somebody argue with how I feel? That is a fact for me. If I, you know what I mean, if I feel disrespected, if I feel devalued, that's a whole fact. I mean, Alana, tell me, what do you think about that?
Well, I agree with what you said, because sometimes we can be in our feelings and it can be just for that moment. But when we take a step back and chill out and and reflect, it's like, what, I was tripping earlier. That really wasn't how I was feeling, but it was just at that moment. And sometimes it can be, you are feeling that way at not only at that moment, but it's really, the fact that, I am feeling this way. Even after, stepping back, pulling back and reevaluating, I'm still feeling some type of way because, like, you were saying earlier, I'm not being heard. So what do I have to do? Put it on a billboard? So, I can see both spectrums, of the post.
Thank you, thank you. Nafisa, sis, we talk about this all the time, right? I mean, this is like a weekly conversation for us, like bringing up how we feel about something. Again, whether it's in the workplace, no matter what. What do you think about, what I just shared about that post, and or, just kind of broadening it and thinking about what we've talked about this month?
I mean, I just think, first of all, no one can ever tell you how to feel. Like, how you feel is how you feel. That's one thing no one can ever do. I think someone can maybe say, can discuss that the intent, what their intent was, not what was not to make you feel the way you did. That wasn't my intent. But however you feel, that's real. So I don't agree with that statement. And I think that I don't know. Like you said, this is very problematic. Just makes me kind of just be all over the place and kind of in my feelings, because I feel like that, even though sometimes I can be maybe overly sensitive because I'm just a sensitive person, but if I feel, like you said, if I feel devalued, if I feel like you're silencing me or I feel disrespected, then I feel that way. And now you can have a conversation with me and say, okay, well, that wasn't my intent. This is what I meant. And then we can have an understanding. But then you still have to understand that this is the way I perceived it. And that is why it made me feel that way. So I have a lot of issues with that. And I think sometimes maybe after you hear someone's intent, you maybe could say, okay, well, maybe, all right, so I see what you meant. And maybe I did overreact now that I look at it this way from a different lens. But I think just to say somebody's feelings aren't fact, like I have a big issue with that. Because I
Yeah,
think people's
yeah.
feelings are real. You can't tell people how to
Absolutely.
feel.
And think about how many times we show up in spaces and we're told that. I mean, like I said, I just saw that
Yes.
post, just 2 days ago, and I was I trust me, I get the reason, because trust me, the other day I actually just posted something about narcissists. That's a whole different thing. But
I saw that post.
you saw that. So that's why on one hand it's like, okay, I get it. And that's why there's it's definitely that duality, in terms of how we can look at that. What do you think, Edwina?
Could you read the second part of that? So I heard that your feelings are valid, but they are not facts. What was the
It
second
said,
part?
just because something made you feel a certain way doesn't mean that's how things really are.
But isn't that? But it is facts according to my perspective, right?
Listen, that's what
That's
we here
that's
to talk about.
yeah. So that's what. Well, yeah. Like, so I don't understand. I'm actually don't understand the other side of that
Yeah.
argument, because from what I'm hearing, well, I guess from my perspective, if something makes me feel this way, it is facts.
Yeah.
Okay, it's facts that this is how this made me feel. So I'm not understanding, like, where the valid, and I also feel like that's a contradiction. Like,
Yeah.
your feelings are valid, but they're not facts. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that contradicts one
Mm-hmm.
another. So yeah,
It seems like a paradox,
it
right?
does.
And again, so if you're just tuning in, just to let you know, we're recapping the month of May, and so all of our podcast episodes so far. But we started out this conversation talking about a post that I recently shared. Well, actually, I didn't share the post. I took a screenshot of it, but somebody else shared talking about, like your feelings aren't facts. Just because you feel a certain type of way doesn't mean that's how things really are. And so the reason why I wanted to bring that post to this podcast and to this group and to our viewers is because we spend so much time talking about the frustration around feeling just that, feeling like when we express ourselves, when we are going to loved ones and our partners, when we are showing up in workspaces saying, hey, I noticed that my experience is totally different from my colleagues, right? We're having this shared experience around feeling like people are, undermining the way that we feel and devaluing, right, us, and also denying us of our full range of humanity, saying there's no way you could even feel that way. So that's kind of why I wanted to bring this. Candace, was there anything that you wanted to add to this conversation?
No, I agree with what you all said. It's definitely true. Just because it's my feelings, it's my fact, and you can't determine how I should feel about something.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why I'm on mute.
Oh, it's all good. We are a podcast and a group that keeps it all the way real. So you already see the
I don't know if y'all can hear our background.
Absolutely, but we're here to keep it all the way real and have these conversations and make sure that our community is served. Sis. So thank you so much for showing up today. So I'm thinking about, all that we've discussed this month. I also want to talk about, how we have these months where we are intentionally focusing on specific areas or topics, and that's when we're supposed to really tune in, to whatever that particular topic, or sometimes it's a societal issue. So thinking about mental health, what I want to know, and if you're in the comments, if you're watching us right now, please let us know as well. But I want to start off with Nafisa. What are some ways that you feel like you have, let's say, progressed or done something differently this month or more intentionally this month as far as your mental health is concerned?
I definitely have intentionally been just trying to be just like more mindful and aware and listening to myself, my body, and like when I need to resting, making sure that I'm vocal about what I need and whatever spaces I'm showing up to make sure I'm taking care of myself, and making sure that I am having people wherever I am, whether it be work, whether it be at home, or friendships and things like that. Just that people respecting my boundaries and being vocal about those as well.
Okay, thank you. Edwina, how about you? What are some things you've done differently this month or more of?
Coming outside. Yeah, I know that for me, outside has always been like a place where I feel more at ease, more at peace. And so with the weather changing, it being mental health month, May, I was really intentional on being sure that I was outside and getting that natural vitamin D, being more aware of, like, I've been doing like mindfulness breathing. So like I'll go out and I'll take a couple of deep breaths, inhale in and out, and look up to the sky and things like that. And so nothing major, but just being more aware of the mental, like you said, and knowing that I do come first.
Girl,
like I do come first. Like I have to take care of myself. I do a lot, but I cannot run myself rampant. Like I do have to be aware. Like, okay, take a break.
Did you look at that?
I think she's coming back.
Listen, y'all know y'all.
All right, yeah, she's coming back.
We are back. We had a little.
So we're not recording anymore.
Thank
you guys for joining us.
Well, thank y'all for having us.
Yes, of course. And like Tony said, we just keep it real. You see, they're on vacation, and I was supposed to be. Well, I wasn't supposed to be there because everything happens for a reason. But
that's exactly. Just keep it absolutely
just alive
moving. It's a lot for me too. So what we were saying is, Edwina was talking about like her breathing that she does and just really putting herself first. I am like here for all of that. In fact, when we got off the plane today and we were in our Uber, I saw Edwina like doing her breathing, and she was like, "Let's get this vacation started by actually."
Our episode. Okay, so Tony's back. They're
Listen,
back.
all kinds of snafus today, so we are actually wrapping up. Thank God. But what we wanted to say was that was that we're slowing things down and we're just being more intentional about being about ourselves. And so, Alana, what's one way that you are more intentionally focusing on your mental health?
Keeping my phone on do not disturb.
I know that's right.
I said that too.
I tell people do not disturb is of God. And even sometimes I have to take my family, my own people, off of do not disturb, and my own parents, because I'm like, look, I love y'all, but today I just don't feel like watching nobody's children. I don't feel like talking to nobody. I don't need for y'all, sob story. I just need to, keep my mind right and just chill. So I'm more intentional with that as far as keeping my phone on do not disturb and having, certain times of the day where I take it off.
Ooh, that is such a practical tip. I hear a lot of people talking nowadays about like disconnecting to reconnect, right? Distancing to get closer. And so I think that that's what you're speaking about. And I think that that's something we often take for granted. Is how available we are and how much that is actually pulling resources right from within us. That's actually uh, drawing from our well. And then so then we look at our wells and wonder, well, why are they dry? Why do I have nothing left? And that's because we're so connected to everything and everyone else, but we're not connected to ourselves, whether that's mentally, spiritually. We're not in tune with what it is that we need to remain whole and to remain well, right? And so, again, we just wanted to, you already know, on the fourth Thursday of every month, we just recap. We just come together and kind of bring this whole conversation full circle. We thank you all so much for tuning in and for dealing with our tech snafus. You already know how things happen, but we are still smiling through it. So thank you again. In the comments, let us know what are some ways that you have more intentionally focused on your mental health during the month of May. Also, let us know, what you think about any of our episodes. But I also really want to know what you think about the post that I shared earlier in this episode where I talked about there's this whole idea that your feelings, are not facts. And so I want to know how you feel about that as well. Again, thank you as always for tuning in to BGSO, Brown Girls Sound Off, where we center and amplify the voices of women of color. As you can see, we're about to go change it to some bathing suits and get in this water, honey. But we wanted to make sure that we stuck to our word and we came to serve our community, because that's what we do. All right, we love y'all, send y'all mad love. Thank you so much, Ilana and Candace, for joining us. We really appreciate this. And when we get back, next month, we're gonna have to do a whole nother live, and we might be home.
We might. It's no guarantees on that one because I plan on being out.
Listen, this summer the 4 Thursdays might be unstable, but bear with us. All right, y'all. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your evening. It's been a pleasure. See you later.